Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hard Hittin Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Obi Muniz. Hey, we're going to talk about the Sweet 16 in our Mania Challenge 2020 from 16 to 4. So check it out. Here we go with our introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, prepare your ear holes for the best wrestling box, the hard-hitting wrestling show.
All right, we're back. Here we go, man. If that last scene didn't scare you, it sure scared the hell out of me. I mean, Kane is the most scariest man other than the Undertaker that I know. So, by all means, hey, on our show we have a new guest. Before I introduce everybody else, it's Noah. Noah, hey, thank you for coming in. Newest member of the Hard Hittin Wrestling family. Please tell us about yourself.
Great. Thank you for having me. First off, I'm excited to be here, talk about wrestling. Obviously, it's the thing that I've grown up loving. As you can see from my setup here, I got John Cena all out ever since I was a little kid. I love wrestling, love John Cena. So yeah, my name's Noah Cross. I'm also a magician. I like to do magic for a lot of people, so I'm all in the entertainment type of deal, whether it's wrestling or seeing people on stage, whether it's a squared circle, who cares? I love watching it, and that's what I like to do. I'm a Yankees fan, so we'll be able to hopefully debate that a little bit as we get going with things, but for now, we're talking wrestling, and I'm excited to be here, so thanks for having me.
All right, hey, appreciate it. I don't know about that Yankee stuff, man. I mean, hey, but I love magic, and hopefully that your magic will improve my brackets as we move on forward from the Sweet 16 all the way to the Final Four. But we also have Hector V in the house, and of course Tyler Bard, who is also with me at 4 Downs, and soon enough John with the G-Men. We also cover football stats and everything else. We are without Frank. Hope Frank is okay, doing well in Florida. But we move on with our show. That's right. It's a Sweet 16. And hey, this is going to be very interesting because this is going to be so unique because we're going from the regional semifinals all the way to pick the Final Four. So we're going through regionals, Elite 8, and then we're going to stop at the Final Four. So we'll let things marinate for a while, and then we'll come back next week and choose who is our champion in the Mania Challenge 2020.
Oh, boy.
So Hector and Tyler, hey, thanks for joining me, man.
Yes, sir, of course.
Let's start it off real quick for the very first match. All right. And I'll pass it on to Heck V. Edge versus Shawn Michaels in the East region.
You couldn't start any hotter than that right there, man. You're talking about two great superstars, two high flyers, two great champions all around when you look at their resume as far as titles. Man, head to head, these two, man, they've gone at it. They had several matches together. I believe they even had 2 separate street fight matches against each other in which each one has beaten the other. So, I mean, when you look at the head to head, they're almost even, So,
yeah, as a matter of fact, you're right, because head to head, they're 3-3. And that's not including disqualification matches or nothing like that, or the off scene. But you're talking about in-ring performance. Both of them are 3-3. So that's a good note.
Yes, it is. But to give you my pick and the reason why, I am going with Edge on this one over Shawn Michaels. Yes, they're tied head to head, but Edge got the main win at a Royal Rumble one-on-one match against Shawn Michaels. Okay, and he's still. I get it. Shawn Michaels is considered Mr. WrestleMania, but Edge has a winning record at WrestleMania. You see, when I try to compare the two, I said, who'll be a great opponent that I can use to compare the two? Well, I thought about The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels had two great, outstanding matches with The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Edge had another. He had a great match when he defended his title against The Undertaker at WrestleMania. But, it didn't really compare because The Undertaker beat them both, so it didn't really matter there. So, but I give the edge to Edge on this one, just slightly. But, Shawn Michaels, hey, he's the showstopper. So, yeah.
The showstopper indeed. But Noah was actually shaking his head no. And then all of a sudden you convinced him to shake his head yeah. So, Noah, who's your pick?
And listen, this is the Clash of the Titans here from the beginning, so it's hard just to start off. We got Edge, who's obviously a very decorated superstar, just came back to a rampant WWE, and the fact that he's here again is crazy. Shawn Michaels is the Heartbreak Kid. I mean, since day one, if you've watched his documentary video of his entire career, he was told to go out there and wrestle in his first match ever, and that's what he did because he's that guy, and he's the guy that in his prime you could rely on to just stop the show, and hence his name, the Showstopper. I think WrestleMania after WrestleMania, he just showed up and just got better. And whoever he fought, it didn't matter. He had the match of the night. So my pick, hands down, has to be Shawn Michaels, who is one of my all-time favorites, if not my all-time favorite, because he is that guy who goes out there and puts the lights out, and you cannot follow him no matter how hard anyone tries.
Hey, man, great points and stuff. But Tyler, I hear a split right now, 1-1. Who are you favoring right now?
Again, you guys said it. This is a crazy match to start the event tonight. But I think I lean more towards HBK. He's one of the flag bearers for WWF into WWE, making WWE the stronger product with Triple H and Stone Cold and The Undertaker. He was one of those guys with the flag at the front line, making sure that WWE came out on top. And like you said, they're even when it comes to one-on-one against each other. But I just think HBK has that status of a main eventer that much higher than Edge does, because his matches alone with The Undertaker, that's a storied career. So I got to give it to HBK on this one.
Okay. Hey, I'm more of a stat guy versus real. I want to say realistically, because the fact that I wish we would have had one more match. And like Christian will say, you need one more match, But hey, let's take a like I'm gonna carry on what Hector said. They're 3-3. But the most notable one was the Royal Rumble of 2010. And the reason why I'm saying this, because here I have both of them involved in the Royal Rumble. Edge happened to win Royal Rumble 2010, okay? And the sequence of event was that Shawn Michaels got thrown by Bautista, and then John Cena threw Bautista, and Edge threw John Cena to win the Battle Royal. All right? Now, Shawn Michaels owns Edge when it comes to triple threat matches, okay? But at the same time, also one significant match was Shawn Michaels was a disqualification match, which he took the victory over Edge and Randy Orton. So that was what Tyler likes to use the word phenomenon and stuff like that.
Oh, hell yeah.
But they've been participating 33 out of 34 total matches. With that only one match they've worked together. Okay. But with all that I just said, you may think I'm leaning for Shawn Michaels, but no, I'm not. I'm actually leaning for Edge. Okay. I picked Edge just the fact that he always had the upper hand. If it was more, I could say a broader or something like that, maybe HBK, but understand also Shawn Michaels always had support to where Edge at times was solo, right? So he used to handle his ground by himself. But yeah, like you said, Hector, he is Mr. WrestleMania, but then he has a poor record to be Mr. WrestleMania. I mean, if you do all that, I mean, the most notable people will think this last victory was against Ric Flair. career ending.
One of the greatest matches of all time, though.
And then he turned around and get buried by the Undertaker at WrestleMania. Come on now.
But that's the Undertaker.
That's the Undertaker we're
That's
talking
the
about.
Undertaker.
The real Mr.
Bro.
WrestleMania.
Hey, then he should be Mr. WrestleMania, right?
Listen, I
right?
didn't give him the nickname.
Or am I right?
It was people of your old generation that gave him that nickname.
This is true.
Hey,
I will say
Your
this, though.
fault, not mine.
As much as I agree with the fact that Shawn Michaels has the losing record at WrestleMania, like he doesn't have a great WrestleMania record, sure. You got to look at a guy like Ric Flair or a guy like John Cena, where Flair's an 11-time world champion, and that's a huge stat that people always point at. And the only way you can get to that is if you lose 11 times along the way.
Oh, of course, no doubt, yeah, but not at WrestleMania though.
I mean, he's lost big matches at WrestleMania, one of which cost him his career.
Yeah, well, hey, talking about careers, Edge came back after what he thought was the career ending for an injury and got a good battle against Randy Orton.
Very true. Very true.
Although
Great
that
match.
was too long of a wrestling match, to be honest with you. I mean, even the Z Monster almost defeated me during that match. But hey, that's another story there, right? So,
well, here, you use the example of Royal Rumble. And that's a big reason why you went with Edge. But how many people can say they won back-to-back Royal Rumbles? HBK is one of those people.
Right. And he was also number one entry, right?
Right.
To win it all. You're absolutely right. So,
but Edge Edge has won Money in the Bank. He's won the King of the Ring. Shawn Michaels has never accomplished anything like that, though.
And Shawn Michaels
never
didn't
won
slow
what?
down either.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels never won the King of the Ring, or he's never won the Money in the Bank like Edge has.
Fair. That's fair.
And and you talk about Edge, Shawn Michaels and his feud, with people like Ric Flair, but Edge had his battles with John Cena, some great notable matches. And when he took that title from John Cena, he turned that spinner belt into the rated R spinner belt, So, we can't forget about that.
That's blasphemy is what that was.
Yeah, actually, I can say right now. Let's put it this way. I have this one in my room for a reason. All right.
Edge better hope he never faces John Cena in this bracket because it ain't going to go well.
Hey, we'll go back to this match since we have a split, and we'll wait for our listeners to go ahead and chime in to see who should win. Should it be Edge or should it be Shawn Michaels? And let's move on because we did talk about this certain superstar named Batista, and we have him going against the Big Show. Okay, so hey, this is, I didn't pick none of these two to be in the regionals. I really didn't because I would rather have Bautista and Brock Lesnar, but you guys shipped them out because of being a part-timer. But Tyler, I will start with you on this. Bautista or the Big Show?
As badly as I feel for this, I know I feel bad about this one because I've always supported this wrestler for forever, and I'm gonna probably shock the hell out of Noah with this answer. But this feels like an easy win. This feels like an easy of all the ones that we're going through today. This is definitely the easiest one. Dave Bautista wins this match by a landslide over the Big Show. I get it. We talked all about Big Show's accolades. He has countless accolades in the WWE. Compared to Batista, I think Batista has less overall accolades, but I think Batista has had just bigger moments. He is involved in my favorite Royal Rumble ending of all time, where he and John Cena flipped over the top rope at the same exact time, and Vince McMahon tore both of his quads. How much more iconic can it get than that? And he's also going into the Hall this year. So I don't know. He's just got that superstar edge over Big Show. Big Show, you can't take anything away from him. He's great for the company, the best giant in WWE history. But Batista, just that much better.
Oh, okay. Noah's always shaking his head. He's a bobblehead right now. I don't know what happened with Noah over there. We'll give it to you later, Noah. But Hector, do you agree or disagree?
I agree. Batista takes this one. I mean, he owns the Big Show head to head. I mean, you look at it.
I didn't even look at that.
And we're not even talking about a part-timer like Brock Lesnar. Batista has been in that business. Whether he was on his own or he was with a faction, it didn't matter. He was in that ring. He was performing in and out, day in and day out, giving the crowd what they wanted, power bomb after power bomb here and there to everybody. But yeah, he owns the Big Show. Actually, I don't think the Big Show has a singles match win over Batista in his career.
That's not surprising.
So no. I give this to Batista hands down.
He didn't give everybody what the people wanted because of the fact that he did win that Royal Rumble, which he shouldn't never have won that Royal Rumble. I think that during that time, Roman Reigns should have won that Royal Rumble because he was the favorite.
Obviously.
And people were booing, but then they were booing Roman Reigns the year after. So it was like, it's so crazy.
We don't know what we want.
No, of course not. Noah, I mean, hey, you're smiling and jiving over there.
For sure.
I'm sure you're agreeing with Batista on this.
Yeah, I'm looking at this side by side here. Batista is one of the original of the OVW crew that came over into WWE, and that's the core of guys there that just took this company by storm. He was known as the future and evolution. I mean, that should say it all right there. They put a lot into the one superstar there to really carry WWE into the next era. Big Show, again, though, he can't be played down because he was a member of the NWO, which is a huge accolade. He was in. Yeah. He was a giant that was being tossed around between WCW and WWE, and it was a name that was a huge household name of the time. I don't know if I can agree with him being the best large man of all time, but I can say that I would put Batista over Big Show in any situation. So I'll go Batista.
Batista wins and goes to the Elite Eight for the regional finals, and we still haven't covered Edge and Shawn Michaels as we are a 2-2 split. But we
have one comment.
Do we?
We do have one comment from Dave Lanata voting for HBK. Mr. Sexy is what he says.
All right, we got one. I got you, Dave. But keep those comments coming because you never know. We never know. We're definitely going to revisit this before we move on to the next round. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. That's right. Yes. We're looking at the West. Yes, we jump to the West. CM Punk, Seth Rollins.
Oh, baby.
Noah, you lead off on this one, man.
Oh, come on. I got to start off with this. All right. Listen, CM Punk and Seth Rollins.
I'm sharing the wealth, man.
Fair. I respect it. Those two guys are two superstars who are very close to my heart. CM Punk is, savior of the masses. This guy is just the voice of the voiceless. He's done things in WWE on the microphone that people can only dream about doing. He rivals Paul Heyman when it comes to getting a crowd hyped just by talking. So you can't count that down by any stretch of the means. And he's also had huge match after huge match. Seth Rollins, however, is the absolute undisputed future of the WWE. That guy could do anything he wants to. If you ask me, he could be close to what John Cena has become. I think he has the talent. I think he has the charisma, and he can really put the company on his back, and he can have large match after large match. The only difference between him and Punk is Seth Rollins is definitely a company man first. So he's going to put everything out there. He's not going to badmouth anyone. But all that being said, Seth Rollins will be my pick in this one because he is just the guy who goes out there and tears the house down, or should I say burns the house down every single time he walks through the curtain because he just can't be stopped. He's a 5-star bout machine, and he's just going out there and taking names and doing what he has to do to stay on top. So my pick is definitely Seth Rollins.
Outstanding. I like it. I like it a lot. Hector.
I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I got CM Punk in this one.
Woohoo! All right.
I get it. I think there was. I know it was one of those kind of Rollins coming in, Punk is leaving kind of type of things. But, you look at all the different type of matches, whether it was tape, dark matches, live, whatever. CM Punk owns Seth Rollins. He beat him in a singles match. He seems to own the Shield in a handicap match. I don't know how. CM Punk finds a way of just winning matches against opponents that you wouldn't think he'll be able to win matches with. And for him to dominate the Shield in his career, whether it's by himself or even getting the Usos to help him out or anything like that, he finds a way of just owning Seth Rollins. I get it. I take that away from Seth Rollins. He is the face right now, I think, of the WWE. You know what I'm saying? I prefer him burning it down than being the Messiah, but that's a whole different story. But I mean, we're looking at the matchup right now between these two, and I'll just have to give the slight edge to CM Punk in this one, especially on the mic. I mean, yeah, to me, Punk is a better mic person than Seth Rollins is. But Seth Rollins is definitely going to get there, and he's definitely going to surpass him. Definitely. But right now, we're talking about these two right now, and I got Punk on that.
Wow.
Toby, go ahead.
Okay, I mean, you mentioned the Shield, Hector, and we all thought that the Shield has something to do with CM Punk's success because they didn't even never touched him when they first came out. But then that wasn't really the factor there because the fact that they had no relations, the Shield just came out and really just demolished everybody and just to put their signature into the WWE. And if I'm not mistaken, that was on Raw.
Yep.
But the other milestone that we forget to mention was the fact that when Punk was a champion and Cena was a champion, and then they clashed to be there only could be one champion. So that's why. But we could take that even further to where, hey, John Cena wanted a fair fight, and who's that guy? The people.
John Laurinaitis.
John Laurinaitis. The people power.
And he stopped him because he didn't want nobody to interfere with the match, and that cost John Cena the match because of the fact that CM Punk did his signature move.
Outside interference.
He ran away with the championship belt, So that was pretty
Coward.
awesome. But November 2013 started the rivalry between CM Punk and the Shield. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan were tag team partners at the time, so that kind of merged. CM Punk had the upper hand when it came to a handicap match on the 6-person tag team match. CM Punk and Seth Rollins had one match together, and CM Punk defeated Seth Rollins on December 30th, 2013. Okay, so with that, and I say CM Punk.
That's insane to me.
So,
that is insane coming from you.
Insane in the membrane.
That makes no logical sense. If you put the best Seth Rollins against the best CM Punk in the ring, Punk's going to get buried alive. It won't even be a match. Punk sucks compared to the best Seth Rollins of all time.
I'm sorry. Weren't you agreeing the last time when you were saying, CM Punk don't even have to be in WWE and the people will still chant CM Punk?
No, last time I tried to eliminate him because he deserved to get through the first round because he's a good talker. But now we're actually talking about wrestling.
Well,
so,
you want to talk about good talker. The only person really talking that's always the truth, right, is who? CM Punk. We ain't talking about the Messiah.
Then why doesn't he come back and wrestle? He has no reason to be behind the scenes right now. He's perfectly cleared to wrestle.
Why Seth Rollins? Who? Oh, you talking about CM Punk?
Yeah.
Why?
What's he doing? What's he scared of?
He don't need to step in the ring, and he's still chanting.
He's scared because the Monday Night Messiah is doing everything he could have never done in a WWE ring.
The only thing that he disagreed on Seth Rollins is his tweets. Okay, he need to stop being a crybaby and step up to the plate. All right, and you don't go and tell somebody else you make more money because that really explains itself that you're a piece of shit. To be honest with you, you don't call people and downgrade people because of their status or because you're now the face of WWE. You got the right to talk your game. I don't think so. John Cena didn't do it. No other superstars did it. But then now you want to cross over to some other superstar and a different wrestling program to make a lot of noise. You need.
Well, yeah, he's a heel.
And the fact
heel
that
shit.
If you are the face, if you are who you say you are, you wouldn't sell yourself when the time came during the Survivor Series.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
You just open the door.
Found it.
Making it wide open. I'm not.
I was wondering if that was the case. Man, I was a huge Shield fanboy. I loved the Shield, and when they beat Evolution, that was one of the greatest moments ever. And when Seth stabbed these boys in the back with that chair, I hated it initially. That is one of the greatest backstabs of all time. It's not selling out. It's capitalizing.
Thank you.
Capitalizing on an opportunity given to you by the boss who notices that you are the best thing going right now.
Absolutely.
He is the architect.
CM
He is
Punk
the Monday
didn't
Night
need
Messiah,
nobody
and he is the face of WWE right now.
CM
Seth
Punk didn't need
Rollins by
nobody
a
else.
landslide.
Please.
Listen,
He even punked out Triple H. You know, he's told him he's a piece of shit too. All right. He didn't need nobody to have him help him, give him a hand for a championship belt. He did it from and he did it in his own and he made it happen.
The only reason CM Punk got a push is because he was a loudmouth, and the fans who like to fight against WWE because they don't like Vince, were like, yeah, revolution. And then what happened? He won the belt, and he was like, see ya, and he went to another company. He is the biggest turncoat in WWE.
I don't think he went to another company. I think he came back. It was all okay. You can say what you want to say, but the thing is,
I'm literally sitting here just listening to this right now. That was fantastic. Both of you are very. I don't feel like I have to say anything else. I mean, I want to advocate for Seth Rollins as much as the next person because I mean, I was there in California when he cashed in the Money in the Bank,
right?
And I was one of the happiest human beings on the planet, and that was one of the biggest areas where Tyler and I disagreed. We've been friends since high school. And we've watched wrestling the whole time, and the biggest disagreements we had was about the Shield and specifically Roman Reigns. And Tyler was all about all of the Shield, and I hated the Shield. And I always said Seth Rollins is the one guy who is better than both of them combined, and he can do it all. And I'm just sticking by that. I feel like we're here and we're finally getting to see all that Seth Rollins is capable of. I mean, he just got inserted into a main event scene again to go against Drew McIntyre, which that's immediately because they know he can do it. They don't have to see anything. He can just snap and jump into that and take out anyone he needs to and steal the show. So it's going to be good.
Who we got? So Noah, who you voting for?
For that, I'm taking Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins. Hector?
I got CM Punk.
And Tyler?
Seth Rollins.
And I'm picking CM Punk. 2-2 split. We're waiting for your audience to vote in who should win, CM Punk or Seth Rollins. And
come on, Steve. You know what's right.
Before we carry on, I want to say hello to Andrew. Tyler, know that's you right there. Jenny, thank you for joining us. Dave and Steve. So I appreciate you guys for coming out to our show. But let us know your thoughts, and everybody else that's listening in. Let us know your thoughts. So far, we have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, which is a split, and Edge versus Shawn Michaels. And let's end the West semifinals with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Miz. And I'm gonna start this one off. It's my tag. I'm it. Word up. And finally, and I say finally, not to sound like I'm The Rock, but damn, can we please eliminate The Miz? Please do that. Can we, guys? Can we? Because damn, The Miz went by Shane McMahon, and I'm telling you, he's never beaten McMahon. Okay, regardless of who Shane is. Okay, then he ended up defeating Mick Foley. I still don't understand why I had to listen to my
landslide
and convince me that he could beat Mick Foley.
Easy peasy.
There is no way in hell that you're gonna say that The Miz can outbeat Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I'm not even going to talk about stats or nothing like that. I'm going to tell you how it is, because that's the bottom line. Stone Cold said so.
You're not going to get an argument from me.
You better not.
Listen, don't make me take it back.
What you got to say?
You know, I got to agree with 110,000%. That's not even a question. Stone Cold Steve Austin? I mean, come on now. Stone Cold Steve Austin. That guy carried an era on his back. The Attitude Era was him and The Rock and Chris Jericho. That's it. Nobody else. The Stone Cold Steve Austin is the guy. And when you hear stories about guys popping in the truck, as in the producers sitting in the truck watching the Monday Night Raw feed, and they're cheering for Stone Cold, they wrote the script. but he didn't need to because he's Stone Cold. He delivers lines and people just lose their minds because that's who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. And he transcends wrestling. Like I had a teacher in high school who said to me, "Oh, wrestling's okay. It's cool that you like it." Stone Cold Steve Austin, that was a great character. And listen, I can tell you right now, if Drew McIntyre had the Stone Cold Steve Austin character, it wouldn't have been the same. Don't get me wrong. Drew McIntyre is phenomenal at what he does. But Stone Cold is the one guy who just takes that character and just made it so much more than what it needed to be. And he is just leaps and bounds. You can't even, I'm sorry. The Miz is great, but against Stone Cold, not a cold day in hell is that going to happen.
And Hector's over there looking up, looking at
He's like the Godfather. He's just like, you come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding. You ask me this stupid question.
You sound like more like Arnold Schwarzenegger, though, but all right.
No.
Do it now.
No. What does you pick?
Look, when you can give the corporation a beer bath,
Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and that's the bottom line.
All right, Obi, before we move on, I have a compromise. I have a compromise for the last two rounds that are tied. If you give me, you got to give me Seth Rollins. Then you can take Edge.
I'll give you one of these.
No.
I will tell you what the people want, okay? And we even haven't talked about The Rock yet, but the people want CM Punk to advance to the next round.
You want CM Punk over Seth Rollins rather than Edge? You want CM Punk to go further than Edge?
Steve wants CM Punk. Okay.
Dave wants Rollins.
Okay. Damn.
So that's tied again. This is me. This is strictly me and you. I'm just talking to you. I'll change my vote on one of them if you change your vote on one of them.
Andrew is going Seth Rollins.
Yes.
Seth Rollins. Top. There it is. Game over. Forget the deal. Drew says Seth Rollins. There's a great majority. The deal's closed. You lost your chance. You took too long.
Well, first of all, the deal is not closed, and there was never a deal. Okay?
Listen, I put the offer out.
I can email this to you. You know that, right? But
I put the offer out, and you didn't accept the offer.
Just wait and see. We'll just get to the next couple of rounds. But hey,
wait and see. You just want more people to show up and vote for your guy.
Damn right. You see how? Hey, you see?
You really are like Vince McMahon.
I'm giving the people what they want.
That you're doing the opposite.
Sounded a lot like John Laurinaitis, people power. We're going to have to get you the red suit.
Calls it people power, but really is just OV power.
I have no idea what you guys talking about, but let me tell you this right now. What we have here, we got Steve Austin going to the regional finals, and we're still waiting for the winner between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Go ahead and get your votes in and let us know. We also have Edge versus Shawn Michaels. The winner of that match will go against Batista in the regional finals. But hey, we will go back to it because we have to, because we will do the final four today. But let's move over to the South region, which we have Triple H versus The Undertaker. This is a phenomenal match, and to be honest with you, we could go back to the last couple of matches, and I'm not talking about Super Showdown or nothing like that. No. Let's take it back to WrestleMania when it was all tied between both superstars, no matter
End of an era.
End of the era. It is what it is. The only person that really came on top was The Undertaker. My vote is The Undertaker. Hector, we'll start with you. After my pick, hey, who you have for this match?
I got The Undertaker. I'm taking nothing away from Triple H. I mean, this man probably has the greatest entrance in WrestleMania history. Nobody can top that. Nobody, not even The Undertaker. Okay. And the costumes that he has worn in the past, great. Great matches. I mean, even up to the people like when he faced Sting, it was like one of the dream matches that somebody wanted to watch. We finally got to see it. We got the NWO and D-Generation X involved. Great. Perfect. I take nothing away. But Triple H could not beat The Undertaker on the grandest stage. Not once, not twice, but 3 times he lost to him. on the grandest stage. You know, overall, Undertaker has a winning record against Triple H. But Triple H, when he has beaten the Undertaker, he brought it to the table. But, you know, sorry, the game does not match up with the Dead Man on this one. I mean, I give it to the Undertaker.
Yeah, this hurts a little bit for me because Triple H is my favorite wrestler of all time. I love Triple H. But when you match him up one-on-one against The Undertaker, it's no contest. Undertaker wins this one for sure.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Noah?
I can't disagree with that. I mean, it's The Undertaker. It's the guy who has the most wins at WrestleMania. He walks in there and everyone just says, all right, Undertaker's winning this match. Except for the one time it didn't happen. But you know, he got back on track afterwards and kept the slate clean there and kept going through and tearing through everyone. Triple H, though, I mean, he pretty much runs the place. You can't take anything away from him. He came from, he started young, obviously, and he was with Shawn Michaels tearing things up the whole time. And he's made his way all the way to, what we know him as today. So you can't take anything away from him. A great champion, an incredible world heavyweight champion. But The Undertaker is The Undertaker. I mean, there's only one of him, and there's no one who's going to be able to take that spot or even come close to what he's going to be able to do. So Undertaker all the way.
Okay. Hey, it's unanimous Undertaker over Triple H. Let's move on to Rey Mysterio versus Daniel Bryan. This is a match that I want to see right now, and we will see it this Sunday, except for this is Money in the Bank with 4 other superstars that's going to be included in this. Tyler, who's your pick on this?
Oh, you're talking this. Did you move on to Rey Mysterio? You didn't say which one we're going to.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio and Daniel Bryan.
Okay, perfect. And again, you guys have heard me say this in the last few episodes. Rey Mysterio is one of the reasons I started watching wrestling. I love Rey Mysterio. He's a great champion. He's the original underdog. The guy who went up against all these big guys and showed them you don't have to be this big guy to win it all. Even little Jovi there could beat the Big Show if he wanted to. Anyone can come into the WWE and win a title if you just have the right size heart. Little man with a big heart. But there's one man who has personified that more than Rey Mysterio ever could, and it's Daniel Bryan, the leader of the Yes Movement. He's the greatest little big man that has come through WWE in a very long time. He had an entire movement based off of his character choices in the WWE. And if you just look at his accolades, some of the other people that we've eliminated that aren't in here anymore, he's gotten past them, like Daniel Bryan and Triple H. He's still alive past these guys, and he's going to continue to be alive past these guys because Daniel Bryan defeats Rey Mysterio.
Testify.
Nice.
You agree, Noah?
I wasn't with you, right?
Absolutely. Listen, I'm going to be the Devon to your Bubba Ray here. And I wanted to scream testify the whole time. This isn't even a question. This isn't even a question. Daniel Bryan, the leader of the Yes Movement. I mean, he had 2 of the biggest matches at WrestleMania. Yeah, absolutely. You get it. Yes, you get it. At WrestleMania 30. I mean, I was yes chanting at my house. It's screaming in the living room when Batista finally tapped out and Daniel Bryan finally won the championship that he deserved in the main event of WrestleMania. I mean, it was worth the wait to let him have that great moment. And I remember walking around the summer camp I work at and when I was a kid, and all the kids in my patrol, we were all chanting yes. We called ourselves the Yes Patrol. And a lot of them didn't even know what wrestling was. They didn't even know who Daniel Bryan was, but it was just something that he was able to do that transcended wrestling. And all that aside, in the ring, he is a phenomenal in-ring performer. Don't get me wrong, Rey Mysterio is fantastic, but I just have to give it to Daniel Bryan. He really took the entire audience and had them on his side. As to Rey Mysterio, I mean, he got booed out of the building when he was entrant number 30 in the Royal Rumble a few years ago. So we're not gonna relive that. That was ugly.
Because Daniel Bryan got eliminated from the Royal Rumble.
And why was that? Because Daniel Bryan got eliminated. So that right there, I mean, that's 25,000 people in an arena all on Daniel Bryan's side. So if they were all watching this show, I can tell you how they would vote. Daniel Bryan all the way.
Okay. Hector.
This one was very hard for me, honestly. I kept on digging and digging and digging to see, because you're talking about 2 big, small guys. I mean, they're great. I mean, I looked at all their accomplishments and their championships, it almost was pretty even. They even faced each other twice in singles matches, and they beat each other one-on-one.
See.
So they each got a win over each other. I'm like, okay, well, Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble. But with the greatest Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan outlasted Rey Mysterio's time.
He did.
I'm like, okay, I am stuck here. And so I said, I need to phone a friend. I did that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And I phoned a friend, my friend Manny, who's with In Your House Sports here in Waco, Texas. I called him up. I said, brother, I need some help here. Talk to me. He brought up a point that I overlooked. And I'm going to show you right here, baby. Rey Mysterio defended his title against John Cena, gave John Cena a title shot, and lost that. Where Daniel Bryan went after John Cena's title and beat him. Okay, so right there, I'm giving the edge to Daniel Bryan. He beat John Cena, who was the face. Rey Mysterio could not do that, not once but twice. He lost to John Cena twice, and once was a title match. So everything is good on Rey Mysterio's side, but I'm sorry, when you have that title, you got to be able to know how to defend it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
absolutely.
And so Daniel Bryan, he went after John Cena, and he beat him, and he took that title. And not only the yes movement, but the no movement. I mean, this man can do it all. He can get you going like this or like this in the same night. So
and we're all for it.
I give you Daniel Bryan on this one.
Wait, let me just before you say anything. Frank also took Daniel Bryan. Okay, go ahead.
Did he give you some stats?
He sent all his picks in the group chat, and I'm pretty happy about him. We'll get to it later.
So Hector, I understand your point of view, but you broke my heart. And I'm not saying because you picked Daniel Bryan. It's because the way you use that example where Rey Mysterio defended his title. How could somebody who went out probably 30 minutes against The Miz to beat him and then go straight to another match to go against John Cena? How could you even use that? How can you really use that? Okay, in comparison, what freaking Daniel Bryan did at SummerSlam when he beat John Cena. Okay, let's take it back. Why not have Rey Mysterio defended the following week, and then he's nice and fresh, and then let's see if Rey Mysterio could beat John Cena. I still think he can't, to be honest with you, but hypothetically, if you want to look at it that way, this guy's been in the ring over an hour and John Cena didn't even broke a sweat yet. Okay, so we can't use that. You can't use that.
Well, he had a regular match, Monday Night Raw match against John Cena. With
right, back to back.
And he still lost.
Back to back.
But
he won it. Everyone's celebrating, and here comes John Cena. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Well, you know what? We could talk about Kane winning the WWE title the next night, defending it against Stone Cold and then losing it.
Well, that was the next day. It wasn't right back to back. There's a big difference.
He could have said no.
Rey Mysterio did, and he's a champion. If somebody wants to call you out, you be like, no, not today, tomorrow.
Hey,
I don't think so.
You got a lot of champions that's done it before. So
listen, John Cena is the king of hustle.
No, okay.
There's 3 words: hustle, loyalty, and respect. And hustle played in there, and Rey Mysterio fell for it, and that is Rey's fault, not anyone else's.
Nah. Anyways,
get out of here, Ov.
I didn't even pick nobody. You said get out of here. I'm defending you. You said Rey Mysterio. And you know what?
I didn't say Rey Mysterio. What are you talking about?
Anyways.
Oh no!
Yeah. He got the Frank treatment right now.
Bring him back. There we go. There he is.
But anyhow.
But hey, I will say this though: if we're gonna go off of guys being winded or breaking a sweat and having to fight twice, Daniel Bryan beat Triple H and then beat Randy Orton and Batista and all of the Authority. He almost got carried out
because I wasn't finished yet.
Oh, okay,
okay. Carry on though, Noah, because that's the thing is that you talk about that, but then I'm gonna support you all the way, Noah, because you're right. The yes movement. Hector was saying the yes and the no movement. I mean, this goes even when Daniel Bryan was a tag team with Kane, all this and that, with him when he had no beard to when he had all the beard, I mean, no matter what he did, even when he was trying to be the planet saver and stuff like that, that yes chance was still coming because that's what the people wanted. And I have to give it to him. Daniel Bryan deserved that win. And I see that I got a lot of people commenting that should be Rey Mysterio. But look, man, if you look at it realistically, Daniel Bryan is more of a face than Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio's been in the business for a very long time. And who knows? I mean, he has the chance to prove everybody right now this weekend when he go against not only Daniel Bryan but 4 other superstars on the men's Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah,
I'm not the corporate ladder. Hey, as of right now, it has to be Daniel Bryan.
Oh, proud of you. Ovi, I'm sorry I yelled at you. You want to hug it out? You want to hug it out?
Go
I
send
think
me
we
my
should hug
cookie.
it out.
Email me my cookie, and we'll be all right. But hey, let's move on because this is going to be very interesting, and I want everybody to see this bracket right here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 matches. We have John Cena versus The Rock. We've seen this 2 WrestleMania appearances on this match. They were both main event, and we have a triple threat match for the very first time in this tournament: Bret Hart, Kane, and Ric Flair. With that, we're going to start with
give it to
Cena
Noah
and The Rock. Okay?
Give it to Noah. Put it in his court. Put it in Noah's court. Let him take off.
Before I do that, I'm going to give you my point of view. I love both superstars. Don't get me wrong. Before Cena came to the picture, yes, I was a big The Rock fan and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I also was HBK fan too because my oldest son, when he was little, he wanted to be like HBK because the entrance drove him crazy. But when that music hits, everybody stands up. Even to this today, millions and millions around the world. I mean, this guy got more followers than any celebrity there is right now is The Rock. And then we could go back for that 1 full year of nothing but trash talking between The Rock and John Cena. We could go over that and everything else, but at the end of the time, all right. But realistically, it's a torch that was handed over to Cena. It was a confirmation that he was the face of the WWE. That is a confirmation for every sacrifice that John Cena has done for the company. That was the match right there. Okay. You had to have Cena lose for him to win, and a confirmation, bam, there it is. All right, because it's not what he does in the ring; it's also what he do outside the ring. And these 2 superstars are pretty much identical. Okay, yes, when it comes to acting and stuff like that, Cena has all the way to catch up to The Rock. All right, but hey, his movie is coming out this summer with the Fast Furious #9, so I can't wait to see that. However, this is the same guy personally who sent a care package to my son. All right, when my cousin used to work for WWE, backstage and stuff like that, and for him to sign an autograph, okay, me thinking it was fake, it was just his name, but when I looked at it closely for the second time and I see, oh shit, this is my son's name. This is for Sammy, and wrote a little inspiration words, and he signed it. Yo, that's very touching.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't know what no other superstar would do such as that time, and that was back in 2000. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think 2005, 2006, around that time frame. Okay, and then I get 2 packs, and of course he had his CD, his album, and the time is now got burnt and melted inside the CD player. Yes, for those of you that don't know what that is, it was a CD player back in them days. Okay,
It's existed.
I mean, I could go way back to when my father had 8 tracks, but that's another story. But anyways,
What's that?
But I have to go with my fan base, with my kids who still is chanting for John Cena. And yes, they know who The Rock is, but I have to go with John Cena. Yes, Noah, you may have the floor.
Listen, this is very, very easy for me. As you can see, never give up. John Cena on the shirt. I am an all-around mega fan of the greatest face of all time, John Cena. There is not another person on this earth who could do what John Cena did in wrestling better than him. He does what he does better than anyone else. And what he does is put asses in seats, is what I like to say. It doesn't matter who's on the card. It doesn't matter where they are. If John Cena's name is on the marquee, that place is packed, and he will go in here and hold his own against anyone, even The Rock. John Cena has won 25 championships over his career, all around, tag teams and whatever have you. He is a 16-time world champion, tying Ric Flair. The Rock, very impressive resume, yes. 17 championships, 10 world championships. Very close to John Cena. The Rock is a megastar. There is no doubt about that. But when we're talking wrestling, we're talking the WWE. There is nobody who has done what John Cena has done longer and better than him. So without even a question, as you can see right here, John Cena all the way. That's a fact. That's it. Right there.
I support you, but only for two things that could be very argumentative right now. On this show, we already established that there's only one 16-time champion, and that is John Cena.
Get out of here.
Because we're not counting WCW. Okay. Second,
You're not.
John Cena is not the only one that puts seats to asses. Okay. Because argumentatively, The Rock does the same. And if he was to come back, you announce that The Rock is coming, it's already sold out.
I agree with that, but I did say John Cena does that like others do. But if they're going up against Cena, Cena's taking it.
And it's trending right now.
Oh.
Hector, who you got, man?
It's pretty simple. I got John Cena in this one. I don't like John Cena. I never did like John Cena when he first came out. I never did. I was never a John Cena fan. I always did.
Dave.
But I respected the man as far as what he did in the ring, and I respect him more for what he did outside the ring and what he continues doing outside the ring with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and everything like that. So I respect them all 110% on that. We're talking about the Attitude Era versus the Ruthless Aggression Era. You know what I'm saying? And I even will go a step farther and say that I think if you put the two eras battle it out, I think the Ruthless Aggression would have the slight edge over the Attitude Era. You know, Rock left, you know, to me, he was like the face of the Attitude Era. You know, when he got on that mic, everybody was on their feet. You know, they were ready to hear what The Rock had to say. You know, and then when John Cena came in with the Ruthless Aggression Era after the Attitude Era went down, now we got John Cena in there. Of course, you know, the Kurt Angle had a little play in that, but you know, John Cena was the face. He was, you know, of that era and all the way through to now, helping other superstars, you know, become who they are, because, you know, you see the matches that he started dropping towards the end, you know, for some good reasons. You know what I'm saying? He's helping talent out.
Exactly.
You know, you want to help push the next level of superstars for the future, and that's what he has done. You know, and I commend him for that. Two great matches with him and The Rock. You know what I'm saying? I still will give The Rock the edge on the mic with John Cena, you know, just a slight bit. But John Cena knew how to come at it with the mic. And if it wasn't for The Rock, it wouldn't be he wouldn't be on the Box of Fruity Pebbles, you know what I'm saying? So.
And it's not scripted. It's not scripted.
Yeah,
don't like us saying you can't write things like that. Only them two could do it.
Yeah, but I give it to John Cena. I give John Cena the match on this one.
Yeah, John Cena definitely wins this. And like you put out, what I was going to say, Hector, is that even towards the end of his career, he knew that it wasn't his time anymore. It's time for him to start putting these guys over. And that's what he did with this championship. Doing the United States Open Challenge was one of the greatest moments of his career, because he brought all these guys up. And I could argue it was one of the biggest pushes for both Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Yes. Those two guys coming up against John Cena. Sami Zayn with a torn rotator cuff put on an incredible match with John Cena. And John didn't put them all over.
Yep. I still think Sami Zayn would have won if it wasn't for that. But
I do too, especially with Bret Hart being at ringside. Of course, absolutely. Yeah. With Bret Hart being there, being the one who announced him, nonetheless. Right. You know, we all heard Bret's music hit, and we're like, "Bret, you sure you want to do this?" And then he introduced Sami Zayn, and we're like, "Okay, that's really cool." And you know, John Cena, what more is there to say that you guys haven't already said? He was the greatest wrestler of his time, one of the greatest debuts of all time, and he's the greatest at putting people over. So he's just the complete package, full package. John Cena for sure.
Oh, you heard it. John Cena advances to the next round, and it leaves us to close out the Sweet 16 to the Elite Eight. We have the triple threat match between Bret Hart, Kane, and Ric Flair. I don't know about y'all, but I am down with just a name on this one.
Yep.
So, Hector, who you pick?
It's crazy you left it off with me. All righty.
One name. What you got?
One name.
Bret Hart.
Tyler.
Woo! Ric Flair.
Noah.
The Nature Boy.
Damn, it's up to me.
Couldn't make it easy on you. Come on.
Hey, no matter who I pick, Ric Flair advances to the next round. And I'm just going to
you had Kane. Wow.
I didn't say a name.
Listen, you said no matter who you pick, so it would have been a tie otherwise. So, yes, you did.
I picked Kane because of the fact that he had more of triple threat matches than anybody else with them three. Bret Hart in the triple threat match wasn't that much. Ric Flair was more of a voice, and during those triple threat matches, either he was sidelined, being a manager, guest commentator, whatever case may be.
No, yeah, okay, yeah.
But it was a triple threat match, but if you want to compare, you got to give it to the man, because what's going to happen in this match is the Evolution will come in and take out Bret Hart and Kane, okay? Because
Fair
Batista, Randy Orton, and Triple H will come and make sure they will take care of Ric Flair. They will.
But when Bret Hart had his triple threat matches, he had the likes of the British Bulldog and Owen Hart on his side.
Yep, the Hart Foundation.
So you can't really say that Evolution would have been able to make the difference, because Hart had his faction also that could have made a difference, which it has in the past.
Well, they're not here right now, though.
And then Kane had The Undertaker and Big Show, so all these boys get involved. No, I know it's obviously Ric Flair moves on, but this was honestly tougher. But before we move anywhere, Ovi, can I ask you something?
Please.
To settle our two ties.
Oh, we're gonna cover that right now.
Frank has sent his picks in,
yes,
and he is a panelist. So yeah. I say we go with his picks. I don't know about you.
Oh, well, what did he say?
So, what were the two ties? Could you read the ties off?
Let's start with Edge versus Shawn Michaels. Who did he pick?
Mr. Frank, our stats expert, came out and said, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
I hate you.
All right.
Yes.
And introduce the next one.
CM Punk versus Seth Rollins.
Our stats expert, Frank Cuesta, came to us and he said that the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, is moving on to the next round. Thank you, Frank. I'll never disagree with you ever again, buddy.
That's a lie.
I love Andre.
I love Andre. Show now. No, that's
Andre's great. I love Andre.
Dude,
Andre's
after he got off with you guys after talking about Andre, he came on and ranted with me about how he disagreed about Andre being one of the greatest ever. So I'm not even going to pretend.
Oh, wow.
You're saying
Look at Hector can't even talk about it. Hector's so mad he doesn't even talk about it.
Andre was not a wrestler, man. He was just a giant man in the ring who just imposed his will against anybody he wanted to.
Thank you.
Because he could.
Thank you.
That's
all right.
Thank you.
Well, now that we made all those comments, now we're going to focus on our last round, which is now the superstars or legends that we select are now going to the final four. Now, before we go there, I want to say this show is brought to you by Clovercrest Media. If you want to start your own podcast for just $15 at the minimum, you could make your own podcast. All right. And the maximum price is $50 for full service. All you have to do is go to clovercrestmedia.com and sign up and you can start your show immediately today. That's right. So our owner, Joe Aguirre is standing by. And even though he is busy doing 3 other studios right now, but he will
Yeah.
definitely sign you up and get started today. All right. And you will see all that information in our closing. And we're moving on to the Elite Eight. Our picks will now be for the Final Four. All right. And of course, yes, the Final Four announcement will be next week. So without further ado, let's start with the East region. We have Shawn Michaels versus Bautista.
Shall I?
You spoke first.
Again,
We'll give you the floor.
We didn't have time, all of us, to sit down and think about this one. This wasn't something that we all got to go and get our stats pulled together. So we were all going to do this on the fly. But both of these guys, incredible superstars for sure. But one, in my opinion, does have the edge. Bigger superstar quality over the other. And it goes to Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, as we've said in the last round, Mr. WrestleMania. He's part of one of the greatest tag teams of all time, one of the greatest performers of all time. And as Noah noted earlier, you don't want to go on after Shawn Michaels because Shawn Michaels is going to put on the best match of the night. HBK wins hands down. And I'd be surprised if anyone disagrees with me on this.
No, Shawn Michaels definitely owns Batista head to head. If you look at the short little one-on-one career they have with each other, but Shawn Michaels is better, overall. I mean, whether it goes from WrestleMania to any other, live showing, Shawn Michaels always put on a great showing more than what Batista has. You know what I'm saying? So I give it to Shawn Michaels in this one, hands down. I would have had Edge anyway beating Batista, but in this one, Shawn Michaels definitely.
I have to agree 100% with those two. I mean, Shawn Michaels is the way to go. There's no other way to put it. He's the Heartbreak Kid. He's the showstopper. He's Mr. WrestleMania. He's had such amazing, huge matches with so many people, from The Undertaker to Chris Jericho. No matter where you are in his career, the beginning or the end, his matches are always great. He always goes out there and stops the show. Shawn Michaels all the way. Nothing more to be said.
All right. Every single one of y'all did, and good, valid points right there. Again, I can't say nothing more. Unanimously, Shawn Michaels advances to the Final Four. Our next match is Seth Rollins versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Hector, yeah, sorry I put you on blast, but you're...
No, I mean, you're not putting nobody on blast. I mean, you're talking about the past versus the present here, and I think that would have been a great match if these two would have been in the ring with each other, but I think Seth Rollins just has a little more athleticism than Stone Cold Steve Austin does. You know what I'm saying? Seth Rollins, has almost a better resume than Stone Cold, besides the 3 Royal Rumbles that Austin has. But I mean, for Seth Rollins to main event WrestleMania, cashing in Money in the Bank, beating the likes of somebody like Brock Lesnar, who's almost impossible to beat, I have to give it to Seth Rollins on this one.
This is a tough one. Stone Cold and Steve Austin. I mean, Stone Cold is one of those guys that you could say in any room of wrestling fans, and they're going to know exactly who it is, and you might hear hell yes, and Stone Cold said so. But Seth Rollins has done a lot in his early career so far. He's only been there for a short time, and he's had so many championships, so many big moment matches, and I just have to go with Seth Rollins on this one. It's a tough decision. I really wish I didn't have to make it, but I have to go Seth Rollins. It's not even a question. He just comes in and does what he needs to do. So Seth Rollins all the way.
Stone Cold, as we mentioned in the last portion of the podcast, almost single-handedly, he did have his support, carried an entire era of the WWE on his back. Without Stone Cold, who knows how they would have done. But some could say Seth Rollins is the leader of this era. Seth Rollins is main event television by far. He is the new HBK, where you don't want to go on after Seth Rollins because he's going to put on an incredible match. Seth Rollins always does at least a 3.5 to 5-star match. You're not going to see anything below a 3-star match for him usually, unless he's fighting someone of a low caliber that can't keep up with him. So as crazy as this may sound to some of the Attitude Era fans, Seth Rollins, he takes this one.
Wow. Okay. Well, hey, yes, I agree with most of your comments, but I have to lean over with Stone Cold Steve Austin on this one. Just because of the fact that Seth Rollins is not there yet. And he will be. He will be, but not right now. He's still fresh. I mean, we go back to all the other comments of what we said previously on the other rounds about what we had discussed about Seth Rollins and stuff like that. But Stone Cold Steve Austin is the guy that carried over the Attitude Era. And you can't dismiss that. Yes, he had pretty much a whole cast of all-stars like Triple H, Shawn Michaels, when they had the DX, that was part of it. Some celebrities that came in to acknowledge, like Mike Tyson. I know we forgot to mention that, but we had celebrities trying to be that Stone Cold. Even right now, celebrities have Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, Steve Austin went from being an actor to be a reggaeton fan, all right, with Bad Bunny and his music video. I mean, you mentioned it, Stone Cold hasn't even stopped. But then you got Seth Rollins, who is now the Messiah. Yeah, whatever. But no matter what role he's playing it to the T. And you have to respect that, But right now, he's not there yet. And it's very hard to have a great explanation, just the fact that they've never been head-to-head. But when you come to the face of the WWE, Seth Rollins is only the face of Monday Night Raw. He is not the face completely for the WWE, because let's not disrespect Roman Reigns, even though he's not in the picture right now with this pandemic, but he's the face of SmackDown. Now we have included NXT. When you have Tommaso Ciampa, we have Johnny Gargano, we got Adam Cole, the Undisputed Era. We got so many superstars that not everybody, and this is quoting like John Cena has said in the Stone Cold podcast, is that you don't need, and the other one, whatever his name is, doesn't matter, like Corey Graves. Nowadays people come to CW because they have a favorite. There are so many favorites right now in this generation that is not all solely just on Seth Rollins. And that's why I say Stone Cold Steve Austin is my choosing.
Now, Stone Cold carried that division because he had to. Seth Rollins does not have to carry this division because there is so much talent, but he does anyways because he's that good. Seth Rollins is just that good. That's why he's the main eventer. There are so many stars. All these guys they pick up from the Indies and from TNA and New Japan. Like, look at Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura was the king in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he comes to WWE and he can't hang. And do you know who Seth Rollins?
Hang. Don't say he can't hang, because the fact that everything's scripted the way they want him to be perceived.
That's fine.
They're not letting these superstars do their own thing, and that's
then be like Bray Wyatt.
That's like a lot of people would like to leave WWE because they want to do their own thing, But hey, that's another story. When we're talking about just these two superstars, Seth Rollins has potential. Don't get me wrong, but not right now. I'm sorry, he's not at the level yet to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Not just yet.
I don't know.
Hey, thank you, Andrew. Steve, hey, Dave, everyone's voting for Stone Cold Steve Austin. But hey, we'll wait on that. Everything's leaning over to Stone Cold, but let's move on to the next match, The Undertaker versus Daniel Bryan. Okay. I'm not going to say much to this because I'm going to tell you straight up, it's The Undertaker. I don't need no explanation, no answers about it. You know what? Who you got?
Oh, this hurts me. This is going to shock a lot of people. But in this match, it's I have to go with The Undertaker.
Wow.
You can't hold a candle to
No, you don't understand. You don't understand how much Noah loves Daniel Bryan.
Oh, okay. All right.
I am a mega Daniel Bryan fan. Before, when he had to retire because of injury, I literally cried.
That guy, tears in his eyes.
I cried. It was terrible. When he came back, I was absolutely elated. I mean, like I said, I chanted yes in school. I chanted I chanted yes in front of people that didn't even know what I was doing. I was just some crazy guy chanting yes. So it hurts me so much. But he's the freaking Undertaker. I mean, you can't hold anything to that. So I'm gonna have to go Undertaker on this one too.
Fair enough. Hector.
Undertaker's has so many great matches: casket, body bag, buried alive, hell in a cell. Okay. And for him to be so difficult to beat in those kind of matches, I mean, it's just unprecedented. For him to know how to change his appearance, but keep the Undertaker namesake through the changes of the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era. This man debuted in the Survivor Series, and a year later wins the WWF title at Survivor Series. So, I mean, let's take away the streak. Let's take away WrestleMania. This man has done things that only Daniel Bryan could just imagine of doing in his career. Okay, so I give it to the Undertaker, and they never had a one-on-one match, so we can't even base it on that. So.
Fair enough. I think that'll happen eventually at a WrestleMania in the future. These two will probably face each other, potentially the very next WrestleMania.
You think these two will go at WrestleMania?
I would love to see it. I think that would be an incredible match. I think I'd have a lot of fun watching that. I don't see a lot of the people the Undertaker thought happening. Who would have thought 5 years ago? Would you have said, you know what, AJ Styles versus Undertaker is probably going to happen?
No, actually, I picked the Fiend to retire the Undertaker.
That's how it should have been.
Yeah,
that's how it should have been. But now, just to stay on topic here, this is kind of easy. And again, I love the leader of the Yes movement, but the Undertaker, come on, let's go.
Okay. So the Undertaker advances to the Final Four. He's cutting down the nets right now, coming from the dead, you know, just the same way he did to AJ Styles. But hey, our last match of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The 16-time world champion, John Cena,
Dun, 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 dun.
versus the Nature Boy, Rick
Woo!
Wow.
This is the main event, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That is right.
Man.
This is easy.
I think it's pretty easy too. I think
Same.
I think we're going to go towards the Ruthless Aggression John Cena, and he's going to say, you can't see me. F you, Ric Flair's going down. John Cena, as Ovi says, the real 16-time world champion, moves on to the next round.
Any questions on that, Hector?
Well, whether or not you agree on it, it's still going to be 16-time Ric Flair too. So, I mean, but
for sure,
Ric Flair is the dirtiest player in the game. I'm sure he would have found a way of beating John Cena if they would have ever had a match. But John Cena is John Cena, and you know he would have won. I think he would have won more matches if they would have faced each other more than once. So I give this one to John Cena. I mean, nothing. I mean, we're talking about WWE alone, okay? John Cena is who he is over Ric Flair. So yeah, I give it to Cena. As much as I hate to say it.
Yeah. I like your pick. I like it. I know it's eating you alive, Hector. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Noah.
Come on now. Come on, guys. I mean, John Cena, all the absolute way. It's not even a question, John Cena. I said it before. He's the best to do what he's done. There's no question about it. And I'm going to put it this way. John Cena and Ric Flair, they're known for how many times they've had a championship, whatever way you want to dispute it, 16 times. Cena's going to surpass that. And he's going to surpass it by 3 or 4. It's not going to be by 1. I mean, that guy is still going strong. He comes back and he still does what he can do now that he did 10 years ago. So John Cena is just kicking. He's ready to go, and there's nothing going to stop him.
I wish that could happen, but I just find it very hard to picture John Cena coming back to be a 17-time champ. He did say he was not really looking forward to breaking the record, but everyone knows that if WCW was not in existence right now, we wouldn't be talking about Ric Flair being a 16-time champ. We would not. But the fact that it is what it is, I still, in my opinion, John Cena is still the only 16-time champ, and that's just me. And then, of course, for everything that he's done, he is the opposite of Ric Flair because the sacrifices done to put everything else first than himself, and that's what I like about him. And if you look at what he's done compared to the documentary of Ric Flair, you'll be like, damn, Ric Flair could have done a lot more if it wasn't for all the other bad choices he made in life. But it is what it is. I think the fans there, our listeners, are saying Cena. But hey, Steve was mentioning Triple H. Yeah, Triple H was in the other bracket, and he lost to The Undertaker, as we already know. But, somehow, some way, Triple H is going to have a rematch. He's going to defend Ric Flair, and he's going to want that match with John Cena. So, yeah. Well, I mean, hey, that could actually possibly happen in the near future. Don't get me wrong. Because, hey, Triple H is a 14-time champion. Was not to say that he might have that itch, like Hector be saying. He might have that itch to come back. So I wouldn't mind seeing the Cena and Triple H go at it one more time, But hey, it is what it is. This is the final four. Shawn Michaels.
Wait, hold up 1 second. We didn't agree on Steve Austin. What are you talking? It was 3-1.
See how you said 3-1, Steve Austin. Good job.
Seth Rollins. What are you talking about?
Thank you.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? 3-1. You're right, Steve Austin.
Are you just trying to corrupt this bracket right now? Everyone's shaking our heads at you. I'm not letting you get away with that. Not at all. You put that back. You ain't going any further. I'm taking over.
This is how you take over. Bam.
The boys ain't happy with you.
I mean, who picked Austin to go?
You're the only one.
Yeah,
you are the only one.
Who's the only one?
You.
Who'd you pick?
I picked Rollins.
I picked Rollins, and he picked Rollins.
Rollins all the way.
I thought it was 2-2. My bad.
What are you talking about?
Go back to listen.
I'm gonna replay this.
Yes.
When you said I'm going to come back, I'm like, what rule did he just make up that we're coming back to this? Honestly, what do you mean?
No, honestly, I had thought that it was 2-2. My bad, your fault, but it's all right. My bad. So let me review it one more time. Okay,
that's more like it.
Shawn Michaels versus Seth Rollins. The Undertaker versus John Cena. Now,
amen.
I understand this is an Excel spreadsheet, but tune into hswshow.com and I will have the updated final four, and I will post all the results that's happened in our show from the beginning, from round one all the way to the final four. Now, all you listeners out there, all I'm looking forward to is your vote to see who will beat each other between Shawn Michaels versus Seth Rollins and The Undertaker and Cena, and who is your champion from the Mania Challenge 2020. All your votes will be included with our 4 picks. That's right. We're going to have actually 5 because we got Frank, Noah, Tyler, and Hector. So, and we might have a special guest that's going to be the final judge because apparently I can't hear right with these headphones. But it's all good. All right.
We're always here to make sure you know when you're wrong. It's okay.
Yeah. Hey, you guys stand by real quick, okay? Hey, a special thank you to everyone, all the listeners out there. I appreciate it. Our numbers are raising sky high, and it's all because of you. So thank you for listening to the Hard Hittin' Wrestling Show. We try to provide the best sports entertainment of our podcast. All right? This is my son, Jovi. Also, one more time, you'll hear it in our closing. Clovercrest Media, interested in doing the podcast, hey, by all means, go to clovercrestmedia.com. On behalf of Clovercrest, on behalf of the Hard Hittin' Sportscast, thank you, Noah, for being in our show. Hector and Tyler, Thank you once again. Frank, if you're out there and listening, hope you're back for our next episode. On behalf of everybody, my name is Ovi Muniz. Thank you for listening to the Hard Hittin' Wrestling Show.
Be sure to visit hswshow.com where you can find all the Clovercrest Media sports shows, including the Hard Hittin' Wrestling Show, All Four Downs, and Keys to the City. If you ever want to do a podcast, this is the place to do it. Starting at just $15 a month, you can get unlimited hosting and $50 for full service. Visit clovercrestmedia.com for more information.
A big thank you to the StreamYard for their fine streaming service. For Tyler Bard, Frank Cuesta, and Hector Vasquez, I am Ovi Muniz. Thank you for listening to the Hard Hittin' Wrestling Show.